Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our FSE Scholarship webinar for international students today. Um, I think we have more students join us. So we are going to wait maybe for about 2 minutes to start the webinar. So students need to miss any information. But the presentation slides today will not be shared to you. So while Gabby is doing the presentation, I want you to focus on the presentation itself. And later after the presentation, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A on the Zoom. So you can use you can put your question in the Q&A section, and we will try to answer as many questions as we can. All right, so I will hand it over to Gabby from the FSC Scholarship Office to start. Gabby, you can start. Thank you.
Thank you, Ya. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to today's scholarship webinar. My name is Gabby Beltran. I'm a scholarship and fellowship specialist, and I work specifically within Fulton with engineering scholarships. So today, I'll go ahead and share my screen so we can begin our presentation. Okay, perfect. So again, thank you for coming. And today we'll go over some important information about our Fulton specific scholarships for the upcoming 2026-2027 award cycle. So when beginning their scholarship search, many students have many questions about how to find scholarships, where to begin, where's the best place to spend their time, and how do I filter through the many opportunities that are available. So although this might seem daunting at first, we highly encourage you to apply for scholarships because of the wide variety of benefits that you can benefit from applying and receiving scholarship funding. So in addition to the funding resource that is a scholarship, scholarships can also help increase your networking opportunities. So as an example, with our Fulton scholarships, all scholarship recipients are invited to an annual donor breakfast where they're able to connect with their scholarship donor as well as other scholarship recipients. Like I mentioned before, scholarships are a great way to locate additional funding to help fund your education. So that can go towards things like tuition, books and fees, or even rent. So it's a great way to use your resources and make it easier on you in the future when you are planning out your finances. And then lastly, scholarships can also help enhance your resume, either for applying for an internship, a job, or graduate school. So having something like an engineering scholarship on your resume can really help you in those engineering spaces. So for all of these reasons, we highly encourage students to apply for scholarships each year, and specifically our Fulton Engineering scholarships. So here's an award summary of this past year's awards that were given to students. So you can see here the average award amount was around $2,500. Although since we do offer a wide variety of awards, this ranges from some awards as low as $400, but some awards are above the $11,000 range for an academic year. So there's a lot of opportunity here within Fulton, so we highly encourage you to apply. And over last year, we awarded over 300 different scholarships to around 300 students. So we do try to award students one scholarship and just distribute the funds among all of Fulton. But as you can see, some students are recipients of multiple awards. So again, a great way to like improve your scholarship search and save you time. So here's an overview of what we'll go over in today's presentation. So today we'll start off with general scholarship search tips that all students, including undergraduate and graduate students, can benefit from. And then we'll talk specifically about our FSE scholarships that are available. And I'll also go over ASU Central Scholarship Portal, which is called Scholarship Universe. From there, we'll talk about constructing a winning scholarship essay, and I'll provide tips, just feedback we received from our scholarship reviewers on how to improve your scholarship essay and improve your chances of receiving funding. And then lastly, we'll go over other funding resources that many students benefit from beyond scholarships, including resources for both undergraduate and graduate students, and resources that are eligible for international students. So to start off, the first tip we recommend to students is to plan their search strategy. So we always recommend starting local, and by this we mean starting with scholarships that are specific to your school. So in this case, for any Fulton students, the first step that we recommend is starting by applying for those Fulton specific scholarships. So our scholarships are only open to Fulton engineering students, so it is a smaller applicant pool than a scholarship that may be open to all ASU students. So because it's a smaller applicant pool, you have a better chance of receiving funding through our scholarship applications. From there, we then recommend that you look into ASU specific scholarships. So again, those scholarships that are specific to ASU students to improve your chances versus scholarships that may be open to multiple universities across the country. And then if you are still looking for additional resources, another great place to look is within your specific industry within engineering. So if you're a computer science student or mechanical engineering, they often have different organizations that provide scholarships based on major or your industry. So that's another great place to look. And then lastly, you can explore different general search engines online. So these might have many opportunities listed, but these also might be open to all universities across the country. So we recommend starting small and then from there, moving out to more general opportunities. And then tip number 2 is timing. So this is a big thing every year since most scholarships follow a similar timeline. And these are just some general like dates that you want to be aware of when planning your search. So our first big date to look out for is November 1st. So tomorrow, that's when our Fulton Schools of Engineering scholarship applications open. And this is for undergraduate students specifically. So for any undergraduate students, our application will be available beginning tomorrow. So you can start your application and be considered for those Fulton specific scholarships. And then the next important date to keep in mind is February 1st. So that date is the deadline for all of our undergraduate scholarships. So you want to make sure that you have your application completed by that February 1st deadline, since late applications are not accepted. And then at the bottom for graduate students, February 1st is actually when our Fulton Fellowship application opens. So if you are a graduate student, that application won't be open till February, but it's good again to keep in mind and be prepared for when it does open so you are able to apply. And then in March, around the springtime, is when many other scholarship deadlines occur. So a little bit after our undergraduate deadline. If you are applying to any other opportunities, you want to take note of those deadlines to make sure your applications are completed in time for consideration. And then also in March is typically when our fellowship deadline occurs. So again, for graduate students, that application will become available in the spring semester. So you just want to look out for that and be prepared. And then later on in May and June is when many students are notified if they are receiving a scholarship or fellowship. So you'll want to be on top of your email and making sure that you have all the steps completed and making sure that you are just being aware if you are awarded anything. And then lastly, most awards that you apply for now will be applied to next year's charges. So a lot of the scholarship application and review process happens the year prior. So you always want to start early and make sure you're on top of the deadlines and that you have your applications completed by those deadlines. So now we've gone over some general search tips. I'll go more into our specific application for scholarships. So at this link is our Fulton undergraduate scholarship website. So this is where you can see more information about our recipient requirements, our frequently asked questions, and more. But again, I do want to point out that November 1st date, which is tomorrow when our scholarship opens, as well as November 1st, and then February 1st is when the deadline is. So again, you must apply by that deadline for consideration for the upcoming academic year. So 26-27. And then if you have applied to our Fulton scholarships in the past, we do have an important change for this upcoming academic year. So we have moved to ASU's central scholarship website called Scholarship Universe. So that's where you'll be able to find our scholarship applications starting tomorrow. So here's just what the applications will look like on Scholarship Universe. This includes our Fulton Schools of Engineering general application, as well as our Del E. Webb School of Construction general application. And then down at the bottom, it's just a link to Scholarship Universe where you can find our applications and many other scholarship opportunities. So beginning tomorrow, November 1st, students may search and apply for Fulton scholarships on Scholarship Universe. And again, this includes both of our general applications. Our Del E. Webb School of Construction general application is specifically for construction students. So if you are a construction student, that's the application you will apply to, since that has more questions specific to the construction programs. So both of these applications are open to undergraduate international students. And by applying to these applications, you'll be considered for over 100 different undergraduate scholarship opportunities that are only open to Fulton students. Within the applications, there's various essay questions that you will be asked to complete. So this includes questions about your goals, so a personal statement. It includes if you have any student organization membership or leadership experience, any extracurricular or service experience, as well as any internship or work experience. All of that information you are able to include within your essay responses. And then you'll also be asked if you have any personal or financial obstacles that are unique to your situation to be considered as well. So if you are required to upload documentation, it will indicate that and leave a space for that. However, for our general scholarship application, we don't require any type of supporting document. So that is a common question that we get from students if we'll accept like a letter of recommendation or a resume. So for the general scholarship application, we don't. So you don't need to worry about uploading those documents, just completing the essay questions and making sure that you do have that application completed and submitted by February 1st. And once again, late submissions are not considered for the upcoming academic year. So in addition to our general scholarship applications, we also have a number of standalone applications. So what these are different scholarship applications that are only open to Fulton students. However, the application questions might be more specific based on whatever the scholarship may be, and there might be different criteria. So this is just a list of a few standalone applications that we do have and manage, but specifically for international students, the standalone applications that you will be eligible for are the ASQ Ted Thal American Society for Quality Scholarship, the Stanley D. Duke Applied Science Award, and then the Fulton Schools Global Education Scholarship. So first, we recommend that you do apply for those general applications. However, you can review these standalone applications and see if those are also opportunities that you're interested in, since they do have different criteria, different application questions. So you can take a look over those different opportunities. And then going back to the last slide, one of the standalone applications that we do have open currently is the Fulton Schools Global Education Scholarship. So this specific scholarship is for students who are interested or planning on participating in a ASU Global Education Program. So a study abroad program through ASU. And then on the screen, you can see some examples of different study abroad programs. So if you are interested in one of these, then this may be a good funding opportunity for those like travel costs, program costs, and things like that. So for this specific scholarship, you must be an undergraduate Fulton student with a minimum 3.0 GPA. And then just based on your study abroad program, there are different rolling deadlines on the first of each month. So again, if you are participating in a study abroad program or you're interested in one, this is a great opportunity to help fund that. So we just want to make you aware if there are any study abroad participants. And then some examples of awarded scholarships and fellowships for international students are listed on the screen. So these vary from year to year based on recipients, since we do award each scholarship annually. But these are just examples and kind of go to show that international students are eligible for many of our Fulton opportunities. So we highly encourage you to apply for both undergraduate and graduate students. So here are some common questions we do receive about our scholarship applications. So just want to make all of this information clear. So question number 1, is a FAFSA required? So within our application, since we have over 100 different opportunities, the award criteria does vary. So some are merit-based scholarships and some are need-based scholarships. A FAFSA is not required to apply to our application or to be considered for merit-based scholarships. So only for those need-based scholarships is a FAFSA required, but otherwise international students are able to apply and be considered for all merit-based scholarships if they are not able to complete a FAFSA. And then this kind of relates to the second question, can international students apply? So the answer to that is yes. Like I mentioned, each scholarship that we manage has unique criteria. So this can include things such as Arizona residency or a FAFSA, which determines financial need. So while international students are not eligible for certain scholarships that may require this, these requirements don't go for all scholarships. So there are many opportunities within our application that international students are eligible, and we highly encourage you to apply each year for consideration. And then lastly, what is the average scholarship award through Fulton Schools of Engineering? So we do offer many awards. The average award amount is around $2,500, and most do fall within that $1,000 to $5,000 range. However, like we mentioned earlier in the presentation, some awards can be lower than that, while some awards can be well above that, over $11,000. So once again, through our general applications, it's a great way to save time since you are only applying for one application, but you are considered for over 100 different opportunities. So we highly encourage students to apply each year. And then a little bit more information about the FAFSA, since sometimes students have questions regarding this application. The FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid, and it's open to domestic students and considers them for different financial aid opportunities. So there are different classifications of students who are eligible to receive this, but generally international students are not eligible to submit the FAFSA, so it's not something that you have to worry about completing. And then once again, we offer both merit and need-based scholarships, and you do not need a FAFSA to be considered for merit-based scholarships. So now that we've talked about our different Fulton opportunities, I'll go over more ASU Scholarship Universe website. So this is what the website looks like when you log in as a student. And this website is open year round, unlike our application. And it has many, many different opportunities. These opportunities include scholarships that are internal through ASU, as well as external scholarships through outside organizations that have been reviewed by the ASU General Scholarship Office. So they are legitimate opportunities. Most scholarships do open in the fall, similar to our application, and have deadlines between February and March. So that's just the general timeline that most scholarships do follow. So within Scholarship Universe, you are able to create an academic profile and be matched to scholarships tailored to your specific background. And then when you are looking through different scholarship opportunities, you can tell which ones are internal through ASU with that school icon, and then any with the globe icon are external to ASU. In general, we recommend that you prioritize those that are within ASU, since again, those are only open to ASU students, so you may have a better chance of receiving funding through that scholarship. In addition to our Fulton Engineering scholarships, within Scholarship Universe, there are other engineering opportunities that are not managed by our office. So some that you may be interested in are the Freeport-McMoran Foundation, scholarships through APS, and then also Pathways for the Futures, which is a certificate program. That program has funding specifically for those participants. And then some other things to consider are any need-based opportunities. So sometimes this can be not required by a FAFSA, but is determined by your essay responses. So that's something to look out for within Scholarship Universe, as well as any special interest groups. So this can be if you have a specific area of emphasis or degree specialty that you are pursuing. And then lastly, for any Barrett students, Barrett has its own specific scholarships. So that's another great place to look for additional funding. So in order to create an academic profile, students have to answer questions regarding their academic background. And based on your responses to these questions, that's how you get matched to different scholarship opportunities. So some examples are of questions like what they ask about includes citizenship status, enrollment, or any specific industry that you're interested in. And Scholarship Universe will save your responses for future years. So if any information about your academic background changes, you are able to adjust your response at any time so that all of your matches are accurate to whatever you're pursuing at the moment. Each question is tied to at least one scholarship within the portal. So the more questions that you answer, the more opportunities you're potentially matched with, and the more accurate those opportunities are. And then lastly, I like to point out that it's not enough just to match to the scholarship. You also have to take that extra step of applying for the scholarship. So that is by submitting your application, that is how you are considered for funding. So you just want to make sure that you are completing any essay question or any other requirement that is present within an application. So now that we've gone over our Fulton specific scholarships as well as ASU's Scholarship Universe portal, I'll go over general scholarship essay tips that both undergraduate and graduate students can utilize to help improve their chances of receiving a scholarship. So tip number 3 is it's all about the essay. So many students who apply for scholarship will meet the minimum criteria for that scholarship. So this can include things like GPA, if it's open to a specific major, and all of that type of information. So the essay is where you can really set yourself apart from other candidates who may have the same major or similar GPA as you. So in order to do this, we highly encourage students to review their accomplishments and take some time to think about what makes them stand out from other students and what can help improve their scholarship application. So some examples of this include maybe you or your parent are in the armed services, if you're a first-generation college student, or if you have any interesting research experiences or interests related to engineering. That's a great thing to include. If you have goals to work in a specific engineering industry, or if you faced any sort of obstacle within your degree. So if you've experienced any learning or health differences, any mobility differences, all of those are examples of what you can include to help improve your scholarship essay and highlight who you are as a student. So here are some additional tips for writing a good scholarship essay that we recommend to students based on our scholarship reviewers' feedback. So tip number one is that we recommend that you answer the question completely. So sometimes scholarship questions will ask about different topics within the same question. So you want to make sure that you are fully reading the instructions and making sure that you are following directions within the application. And then tip number two is you want to make sure that you are following any word minimum or maximum requirements that may be present in a scholarship application. So if there is a word minimum requirement, that will kind of encourage you to include more detail within your response. However, if there is a word maximum requirement, that might push you to be more concise. So just whatever may be present in an application, you'll want to make sure that you are taking note of that and adhering to those requirements. Tip number three is starting with an outline. So just like any essay that you may write for a class, starting with an outline can help provide structure and focus to your scholarship essay response. And it can help you plan out your response as well to make sure that you are completely answering that question. Tip number four is that responses should be your own original writing when you are submitting a scholarship application. So there are many different AI tools to help write your response. However, we highly encourage students to submit their own original writing because when the applications are reviewed by our volunteer reviewers, we do find that the students that submit their own original writing are scored and receive better than those who submitted an AI written response. So we highly encourage you to submit your own original writing so the reviewer can get an idea of who you are as a student. Tip number five is to check your spelling and grammar. So again, just like an essay for a class, you want to make sure that you are completing this step. It just goes to show that you put time and effort into your application, and it also makes sure that any spelling or grammar mistakes, they're not distracting the reader from the actual content of your essay. So you just want to take this extra step and make sure your essay looks all good for the people who are reviewing it. And then lastly, if you are looking for additional tips to help improve your essay, we recommend that you have at least 2 people review and edit your essay. So this can be someone close to you, like a friend, a parent, or an advisor that you are familiar with. Just anyone who does know you as a student and who is aware of your accomplishments, your goals and things like that, because they can help provide the best advice to help improve your essay. And then additionally, we recommend that students utilize ASU's writing and tutoring centers as well for any technical help with their scholarship essay or writing tips. So here's a short example of a scholarship essay that does implement some of those tips on the previous slide. So I'll read it very quickly. It says, "My name is Cassandra, and I'm currently a biology major at ASU. All my life, I've been drawn to medical science. This summer, I had the opportunity to intern at Phoenix Children's Hospital. I am more motivated than ever to pursue a career in the medical field. One challenge I face is funding my education. My Dean's Award scholarship and financial aid cover only a portion of my expenses each year. With the help of your scholarship, I am confident I can make my dreams a reality." So some things that this example does well is that it's mindful of grammar. So there are no spelling or grammar mistakes that distract you from the content of the essay. The tone is appropriate. So the tone is still professional. However, you do get an idea of who the student is. It's still friendly and personable. This example tells a story. So within the example, the student uses concrete examples to help explain their background, so their past internship, and then Also, their specific challenges. So their scholarship only covers a portion each year. So including those specific concrete examples does help improve your essay and helps the reviewers get to know you specifically as a student. So a question mentioned before that is included within our scholarship application is the personal statement. So this is what the personal statement is for our applications. It says, describe your academic and career goals and what you believe impacted or led you to these goals. Also, briefly explain your vision of your professional life and contributions to your community after graduation from the university. So this is, again, your chance to show what makes you unique as a scholarship candidate and as a student. So you may want to start with an outline to provide focus and structure to your response. And you'll also notice that this personal statement asks about many different topics. So your academic goals, your career goals, your vision of your professional life, and etc. So having an outline can help make sure that you are answering all parts of the question. When completing a personal statement, you'll want to keep in mind your audience. So whoever is going to be reading your essay and reviewing it. So for Fulton specific scholarships, it will be different staff, faculty within Fulton, so who are familiar with engineering, as well as scholarship donors who are professionals within the engineering industry. So in that case, you'll want to highlight your specific engineering major, any work that you may have related to engineering, any research experience, and things like that. However, this focus may change if you are applying for other scholarships. So, for example, if you're applying for a scholarship that focuses more on like service or leadership, then you'll want to highlight those experiences. You want to give specific examples when you can within your personal statement, and then you also want to keep it clear, concise, and compelling. So for our personal statement, we do have a 3,000 character maximum limit. So that's around 500 to 700 words. So you want to make sure that you are completing or including the most important engineering details to help improve your application. So in addition to the personal statement, we do ask about other topics. So this again includes things like community service, any leadership or internship experience, as well as work experience, any extracurricular activities, either within ASU or within the engineering field, any student organization membership. So if you've held a leadership role within a student organization, that's a great thing to include, as well as if you are pursuing any emphasis in engineering or if you have a specific degree specialty. So that last point we do like to highlight to students. So within our undergraduate application, we do ask if students are pursuing any emphasis in engineering or degree specialty within their major. Also, they are asked to list or describe any coursework or experience that relates to that area. So the reason that we do ask this question is that many scholarship donors each year are looking for students with specific industry preferences. So by responding to this question, you help our office match you with those donors who align with your specific interests. So some past examples include semiconductors, transportation, humanitarian engineering, geotechnical engineering, radio and television broadcasting, and then for construction students, heavy construction or pavement. So these are just past examples. Your specific specialty doesn't have to align with these, but we highly encourage you if you are pursuing a specific area to include those keywords to help us match you with those donors if they are looking for students within that area. And then for the construction general application, students are actually asked to rank several different construction industries. So that kind of goes to show how important this topic is when we are reviewing scholarship applications. So you might be wondering, as you complete your scholarship application, does involvement matter? Do I have to be involved in order to apply? and questions of that sort. So while involvement isn't required to apply for a scholarship, it can definitely help improve your application and give you an edge over another equally qualified applicant. So again, many students do meet minimum criteria such as a major or GPA. However, if you do have like other like student org experience or service experience, that can really help push your application over the top versus another student who might not have that. So in addition to your scholarship application, involvement can also help build your resume and help you gain relevant experience for your future career. So this can include like professional development and interpersonal networking later on down the line. Getting involved can help you create direct connections with faculty, which can later become a source for a letter of recommendation. So because of all these reasons, we highly encourage students to get involved. And if you're thinking now, like, I'm not sure what to write in my scholarship application, that may be a sign to start getting more involved. So maybe joining a student organization that you're interested in, or doing community service, or looking for an internship. So involvement has many different benefits to students beyond scholarships. So if you are looking for those resources, there are many within Fulton specifically as well. So now that we've gone over how to locate scholarships and how to apply, I'll also give more information about additional financial resources that you may be interested in. So a scholarship that is offered through ASU that many students receive is the New American University Scholarship. So this just has more information about those awards. So for undergraduate students, these scholarships are renewable for 8 consecutive semesters, given that students meet the academic criteria of completing 30 ASU credit hours and maintaining a 3.0 cumulative GPA. However, for graduate students, the New American University Scholarship is only a one-time award available for your first 2 semesters. So for graduate students, unfortunately, this is not renewable, but if you're undergrad or grad, this is just information that you should be aware of. And then lastly, all of these scholarships are awarded upon admission, so there's no need to apply for these opportunities. So renewal criteria may differ across different scholarship programs. So like in the previous slide, I showed you the renewal criteria for New American University scholarships. However, this does differ from our Fulton specific scholarships. So as an example, our Fulton scholarships are not automatically renewable, and students do have to apply each year. So this is just one example of how that criteria can differ across programs. So for any scholarship that you are a recipient of, we highly encourage you to review any award notification you receive or any program website, just to make sure that you are adhering to any criteria so that you can maintain that funding if that is available. So in addition to our Fulton and ASU scholarships, there are many different scholarship search engines that are available to students. So this includes things like College Board, FastWeb, and many more online that you can find. So specifically for international students, we do like to point out the International Education Financial Aid Scholarship Search, or IEFA. So this website has scholarship listings that are open specifically to international students. So that's a great place to look for additional opportunities if you are finding it hard to find those applications that you're eligible for. So we do like to point that one out, as well as all of these websites, which you can find on our undergraduate scholarship website. In addition to scholarships, many students also fund their education through different Fulton specific programs. So this can include things such as undergraduate teaching assistant positions, or UGTA. If you complete research through Fury, that's a way to also get that additional funding, as well as different student employment opportunities. So this can include things like tutoring or any student worker position that you may find on our student employment job search website. And then specifically for international students, many students are eligible for ASU hourly or off-campus employment programs. So on that website, you can find more information about the opportunities available and what criteria students must adhere to. And then also for international students, there are opportunities for CPT or OPT, which are different employment opportunities where students are able to gain work experience within their specific field. So these opportunities do have different criteria, but online you are able to look more over what the requirements are. And if you are interested or have questions, then students are able to contact ISSC for more information on how to make sure that you are meeting the requirements for those opportunities. And then specifically for Fulton graduate students, we do have a separate website for our Fulton fellowship opportunities. So like I mentioned earlier in the presentation, for graduate students, that application will become available beginning February 1st, and typically the deadline is mid-March. So students must apply by that deadline for consideration for the upcoming academic year. And this is for graduate students. And then here's an overview of what the fellowship process looks like. It is very similar to our undergraduate process. So for our fellowship, students are asked to complete one fellowship application, and they're considered for a wide variety of different fellowship opportunities. So some that we like to point out include the engineering grad fellowship. So this is awarded to both domestic and international master's students, and it's typically around $1,000 to $2,000 annually. Students must reapply each year for consideration for this fellowship. And then in addition to that, we offer around 25 different other privately funded fellowships funded by different engineering scholarship donors. And then these awards range from $1,000 to $10,000. So on our website, graduate students are able to view these different fellowship opportunities and their specific criteria. So that's something, although the application doesn't open until February 1st, you are able to view that information so you are prepared when the application does open. So in addition to Fulton graduate opportunities, there are also many opportunities offered through the ASU Graduate College. So they have their own awards and fellowships that you can look into. They also have more information about graduate appointments. So this can include things like TA or RA positions where students can receive additional funding. And they also have other resources specifically for graduate students. So that is a great place to help supplement your search. And I believe there will be an additional webinar in the future with the ASU Graduate College, so they can go more in depth about what opportunities they offer and manage for any graduate students. So lastly, support is available. So on this slide, you can see our contact information. So this includes our engineering scholarships email, where you're able to email us anytime with any questions you have about scholarships, fellowships within Fulton, as well as just any general like funding questions. We can help you with that as well. For more complex questions, you're able to book an appointment with members of our team. And then lastly, we do offer additional scholarship workshops throughout the scholarship cycle. So through January, we offer different Zoom workshops that go over similar information as this workshop. So general scholarship search tips, ASU Scholarship Universe, and then also essay writing tips and other general funding resources. So if you in the future are looking for more information, this is a great opportunity if these dates work with your schedule. And then lastly, here's the main resources that we went over during the presentation. So this includes our undergraduate scholarship website, Scholarship Universe, our fellowship website, as well as more information regarding our recipient requirements, FAQs, and lastly, our support website where you can contact us with any questions. So thank you for attending today's workshop, and now I'll be available to answer any questions if you have them, just putting them in the chat.
All right, thank you, Gabby, for the presentation. I think we have a lot of questions in the Q&A, but like I
Okay.
answered some, and there's one more I don't think I know the answer. So if you can answer that one, please. Thank you.
Okay, so which scholarship is the general scholarship that automatically applies to many scholarships if you apply? So I'm going to go back to earlier in the presentation just to show you those like exact names, like at the beginning. So on this slide, you can see for undergraduate students, we have our Fulton Schools of Engineering general application. So this is open to all Fulton undergraduate students, and it is the application you have to complete to be considered for our opportunities. However, if you're a construction student, then you must apply to the application on the right. So the Del E. Webb School of Construction general application. So that application is specific to construction students. So if you're a construction student, apply to that application. If you're a different major, apply to our general application. Then what are the requirements of the Fulton undergraduate scholarships? So like I mentioned, we do offer many different opportunities, over 100 different opportunities for undergraduate students. And all of these scholarships have specific criteria to them. So some may be merit-based, so that may like be having a requirement of a 3.0 GPA or 3.5 GPA. Some may be need-based, so looking for different financial need information based on your essay responses. And then some might be based on like different service experience you have or a different degree specialty. So the criteria is very like general, but we do have on our website a list of our general recipient requirements, which I encourage you to look through for more information. But we do have like a wide variety of criteria, and many students are eligible for like a great number of our opportunities. And then these scholarships will be available on Scholarship Universe starting tomorrow. So correct. So our application opens November 1st each year. So starting tomorrow, you'll be able to find these on the website and actually begin the application. So right now there's nothing on the website, but tomorrow you will be able to access these. I'm an international student doing a master's in data science, and this is my second semester. Can I apply for scholarships for spring 2026? So unfortunately, all of our scholarships for the 25-26 academic year have been finalized. So there are no opportunities at this time for spring. All of our applications when they open will be for the 2026-2027 academic year. So if you are attending for fall 2026, then you can apply come February 1st when our graduate application opens. Where can I find FSE scholarships specifically for graduate students? So again, that application will open on February 1st. It will be located on Scholarship Universe, but it does have a different website, just like for information. So this is the website for our graduate fellowships where you can get more information about the application, and then also what different fellowships are available to FSE graduate students. So this is the website I would recommend for that information. So I'm trying to answer the questions for Scholarship Universe. One of the questions about citizenship, I can't find my country. What should I put? So for this, I would recommend reaching out to the general ASU scholarship office. So they are the ones who do manage that website. So they might be able to help get that added to Scholarship Universe. and their email, you can find it on the financial aid website, but their email is scholarships@asu.edu. So I would recommend talking to them and seeing like if they can add that into the website or provide direction on what you should indicate for that spot.
Thank you, Gabby, for answering all the questions as well. We can wait. We may wait for 1 more minute to see if we will get more questions. But if you don't have any questions today, you are free to go. And that concludes our webinar for today. And thank you, everyone, for attending our webinar. Thanks, Gabby, for the very helpful information. And I hope everyone have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, thank you, y'all, for organizing it, and thank you for everyone for attending. Once again, here are the links of the like main websites that we went over during the presentation, just for your reference.
And I think we will be sharing a flyer to them. So if you are here, then we will be sharing a flyer maybe by next week to you with all the links attached in that flyer, so you definitely can find those resources.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's our webinar for today, and thank you again, everyone, for attending, and you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you.
Right, bye.
Bye.